Lowe's knows that no matter your paint project, saving is at the top of your list. That's why when you shop today, you can buy one, get one free select Valspar and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams one-coat coverage interior paints via rebate. Shop these deals in-store or online today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 8/21 through 9/3.
The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What do you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Wow. And you thought you weren't supposed to drink the water in Mexico.
Yeah, I am staying out of the woods. No hikes for me.
Yeah. Any hiking plans I had have been postponed or canceled.
Hiking plans you had. That's funny.
I had none.
You're not a hiker, but now you have valid reason not to be.
Yes.
Alrighty, folks.
I also have a valid reason not to touch you.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Fair enough. This episode, we are talking about Together. Years into their relationship, Tim and Millie find themselves at a crossroads as they move to the country, abandoning all that is familiar in their lives except each other. With tensions already flaring, a nightmarish encounter with a mysterious unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. This movie literally made me scream twice.
So
And jump a couple of times. So for something that's not really like a slasher horror film kind of a movie, they definitely got in some good jump scares.
yeah, and we were at the early release movie on it, and there was a little message from Dave and Allison beforehand.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for coming to see it.
I think he pretty much said it right when he said this is fucked up. Because it was fucked up.
Yeah, they left a message about wanting to see the director's vision, and wow, that vision is drug-induced.
Yeah, that guy does mushrooms or something. I don't know, because that was, I feel, man, if you have that kind of vision, I think the only thing you can be is like a writer or a director, because anything else you'd be.
Or you come from a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So, in short, our story is about Tim and Millie. Millie is a teacher. Tim is an aspiring musician, which means he does a bunch of stuff, but he's really not like making money at it or being successful at it. And they have been together for about 10 years. And Millie gets a job several hours outside of the city in the country, teaching school children. And since Tim doesn't really have a job, since he's hanging around playing music, he doesn't really have an excuse not to go. So he has somewhat of a traumatic childhood in the fact that he once walked in on his mom, who was laying in bed with his dead father in bed, rotting, smelling, whatever, with the mom. So he's got some trauma. But in short, they go exploring in the woods near their house, and they accidentally get lost, and then they fall in this hole and kind of this subterranean thing, and there's pews embedded in the wall and bells and crosses, and we later learn that it's a church that somehow just kind of fell into a sinkhole. But
or at least that's what we're told.
That's what we're told. So it's at this point, there's a storm, nice weather has turned bad, and they're like, we're going to wait it out. So they sleep in the cave, but not before they get thirsty, and they drink from a pool of water in the cave. Okay, first of all, ew, don't ever do that. There could be all kinds of microbes and isms and things in there that could crawl up and eat your brain. Don't ever just drink random water, ever.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like that was actually you and me, is that you'd be like, no, it'll be fine. I'm like, don't drink that.
No. I'm aware of the science on this one. Yeah, I would have to literally be like on the verge of death.
Yeah.
For me to do that. But or just have one of those new bottles that like you could drink from anywhere because it filters it and actually does a good job.
I don't know if it filters the evil bizarreness that is in that water.
I do not think that would get caught in the filter. No.
Yeah, I don't know if any company knows to filter that out. So they wake up after sleeping there for the night, and they're kind of sticking together, and the ground's kind of sticky, and they're sticking together, so they peel themselves from each other. They crawl out of this big cave, and they get back home. But they seem to be magnetized towards each other, especially Tim, who cannot seem to leave her and gets very extreme reactions to her ever being away. And it turns out that something voodoo magic or something was in the water, and they are now drawn to each other to be together forever.
I've heard of like animals being a bonded pair. That's the actual ultimate bonded pair.
Yeah. So we put spoilers, but at this point, folks, seriously, dip out if you haven't seen this film because we don't want to ruin it. But
yeah, it's a really good film.
Toward the end, we see what happens after arms get stuck and they get stuck when they have sex, and there's all kinds of sticky parts sticking to each other. But it turns into this ultimate togetherness where they mold together into one person, together forever.
Yeah, and it's interesting in retrospect that the other teacher was a molded person.
Yeah, and it's funny because when Millie picked up the picture twice of the guy and his husband or fiance at the time, I kept thinking, which one is he? Because he kind of looks like both.
Yeah, he looks a little like both of them.
Yeah, and it turns out that was intentional because the guy we see today is a melding of both of those people. And it's so funny because I thought that twice. I'm like, which one is he that? No, he kind of looks like that one. I'm gonna they did a great job with that.
I'm going to say this. If you have to get melded to your partner, this is definitely a time that being gay or lesbian has its advantages. Because then you have...
Oh, yeah. What does that look like?
You have two women melding together or two men melding together. It's not as weird.
Yeah.
But when you have a man and a woman who meld together, well, we saw that at the end.
Yeah, you could have boobies and a pee-pee.
Well, I don't think it's the boobies and a pee-pee. Well, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, I know he, she was not the same. Am I allowed to say he, she? I think in this case...
Them.
I think I can say...
Them and they.
Well, yes, if it's normal people, I would say them and they. I think in this case, it's an actual he, she.
I don't know.
Like it literally was.
I don't know if we should be talking about
50% he, 50% she.
This doesn't feel PC. I don't know if we should be talking about this.
Wow.
So a lot of what would you do is in here. What would you do? First of all, starting at the beginning of the film, if your significant other that you've been with for 10 years and you're not married to, got a job somewhere far away from where you had lived and your friends were, and you really didn't have a reason to say no because you yourself didn't actually have a job and have roots there. So it was hard to object to moving.
Well, not to mention the fact that, I mean, it pretty much seemed like she was his meal ticket.
Yeah. So what would you do?
If your meal ticket's leaving town and they're inviting you to come with them, you go with them.
You go with the meal ticket?
You honestly, or what? I mean, were they in New York or I don't remember where it was.
They didn't really say. They were in the city.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would definitely be a starving musician at that point, not just an aspiring musician.
You might be a musician who is experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, or you could be an expiring musician. So Millie initially rejects Tim's concern about something happening to him because she wakes up one night and she thinks that Tim is on her hair and she's like, get off my hair, get off my hair. And he's actually, her hair is going into his mouth.
Not a few strands. Like all of it.
A big, yeah. Like
and not just inside the mouth, but it was going down the throat.
Yeah, and he's pulling her into him via the hair. So, and she still, they have a kiss initially, and their lips get stuck, and she was like, "Oh, you bit me." So he is perceptive enough to realize there's something not right here. Don't you just realize what's happening here? And she says, "No. As a matter of fact, I don't want to be with you. I don't want you." And tries to move away from this relationship, so sends him to the guest room to sleep, and
which he was happy to do given the situation.
Yeah, and yet somehow they were magnetically somehow pulled toward each other in the middle of the hall to connect and have their arms overlap. So what would you do?
What would you do at this point? I forgot.
Yeah, what would you do if you started having body parts meld with somebody else?
I mean, like, if you're in the cave, you can write that off as being something like there's something on the ground that's sticky that got on your legs. And
but the pulling towards part, they were both being pulled down the hall toward each other.
Well, I'm saying in the cave. Like, you can, or even the kiss, you can maybe, like, you can kind of write those off as being flukes or something weird. When you're being pulled, like literally pulled by some force towards the other person, and they're being pulled towards you.
This Labor Day at Lowe's, shop member-only doorbuster deals for a limited time. Save $50 on an Ego string trimmer, now $169. Plus, get 50% off select Holland pavers. Not a rewards member? Sign up for free today. But hurry, Labor Day doorbuster deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 9/1 while supplies last. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Yeah, you kind of freak out at that point. Muscle relaxants.
Well, for what would you do is they did take some Vicodin.
No, it wasn't Vicodin. It was some.
Or
no, it was another corner of a
Valium.
Valium. Yeah, I think it was.
Which was rebranded as something. So, which they say twice, which makes me wonder if they were a sponsor or something. So they pop a bunch of pills, and they're like, it'll get into our system quicker if we snort it. So they crush it and snort it, and they lick it, and their arms are melded together. And Millie takes basically a rusty old saw and saws them apart. Would you do that?
A power saw.
Yeah. It's not an impressive blade. Kind of one step above cutting up the Thanksgiving turkey.
No.
You wouldn't do that?
I would not.
I wouldn't either because the risk of infection is so high.
Honestly.
And she was doing arm because her right arm was melded into his arm.
Correct. And because of that, now he can't drive. He has a learner's permit only. Which pretty much means he can't really drive. But her left arm is free.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the driver. She can drive. I mean, might be a little more difficult. You get your ass to the hospital. And then you let the ER deal with this. You're like, I don't know. At least then, if they're going to cut you, they're going to give you some massive painkillers first.
Yeah, and then, after they separate you and you start sticking together again, then the hospital can be like, oh, well, gee, we've got a case here. We should bring in some specialists. But going through all that by yourself out in the woods doesn't seem smart. When you have the ability.
You don't need a specialist at that point. You need an exorcist.
Yeah. I mean, I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, but using an old thin power saw from your left hand, I don't feel like I would be very good at that.
I mean, I'll say this. That's probably about the best tool I could think of if they were going to have to use a tool. Like in their scenario, that actually was a good tool to have. But that said, no. Don't split yourself with your non-dominant hand.
So the other thing that happened at the end, which is obviously a great what would you do, is when they realize that they have no power over what's happening. This is going to happen. And Tim starts to put a knife up to his neck like he's going to slit his throat, because then that way she'll be free. He'll be dead. She can't meld with him. At least I hope not. That would be terrible if you could get together with a corpse like that.
I probably, honestly, what would you do? When he grabbed that rope, when she split, I thought he was actually going to hang himself.
The rope?
Yeah, when he grabbed the rope to go into the cave.
Oh.
I actually thought he was grabbing the rope to hang himself.
Oh, well, that's dark.
It is dark, but it's the same thing. It's
he was kind of spelunking.
If I'm dead, I can't be melded.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I don't know what the rules are on this thing.
And then that takes us into the ultimate what would you do is as soon as he starts to do that, she collapses because she has a big gash in her arm. And the only way that he can think to save her is to meld back with her arm. And then they turn into, I assume, the combo that was the lost hikers that were in the cave that were gelatinous and disgusting and whatnot. I assume they went through that in the comfort of their cabin opposed to in a dank, dark, wet cave like the lost hikers.
Yeah, and it looks like the lost hikers did everything possible to fight it the whole time.
Why?
Well, I mean, they weren't actually melded.
Well, I just assume that's part of the process.
No, that didn't look like it was part of the process.
See, well, the part that confused me with the timeline is because those hikers have been gone for a while, and that's what they look like. But yet, Millie's parents were coming to dinner on Sunday, and by Sunday, she was already fully melded with Tim.
Oh, I get it. I get it now. Hang on. Okay, you remember how there was a knife stuck in one of their necks?
Yes.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that was somebody.
The disgusting couple.
That
in the
was
cave.
somebody, one of them, trying to kill themselves.
Oh, that'd be terrible if you were already molded and then you
in
just have
the middle
this...
of a meld, and then you can't meld further, and then you're basically stuck with something right out of the substance. You remember the substance?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's the level of gross we had there.
Yeah, maybe that I'll buy that theory. That makes sense. So, what would you do if you were ever faced with something otherworldly like this? I kind of feel like you'd go to ChatGPT. Say, I've been taken over by XYZ. What do
Listen,
you suggest? Give me your top 10 suggestions.
when I don't know, that'd actually be fun. Like a completely ridiculous thing, and have ChatGPT give me actual suggestions for that. I might be trying that. Until I have an idea as to what's going on, I'm definitely not fucking you. That's for sure. They didn't learn that lesson. Yeah, because listen, getting your arm stuck or your lips stuck is one thing. Getting your genitalia stuck to each other?
You just got rid of our PG rating.
Well, okay. maybe I'll flag this one.
Yeah, well, at that point, Millie doesn't really know what's going on. And Tim just knows that he is uncontrollably drawn to her when he's been kind of indifferent for a while. So
yeah, that's hard when a relationship gets that long. That said, going back to the first part of the movie on a what would you do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're with someone for 10 years and you haven't gotten married to them, or at least proposed, that feels weird. Now, that said, I do have one friend who he's been with his girlfriend for over 20 years, and they just said, we're not getting married.
I don't think there's anything weird about it. I mean,
unless you've had that conversation and you're like deliberately not doing
it's
it.
An institution pushed by the man.
Well, obviously it wasn't something they sort of had a conversation on since she proposed to him.
Well, with opening a fake box.
Yeah, what the hell's up with that?
Well, I think she was just kind of in the moment of the fact where they were at their goodbye party and everyone was wishing them well. And it felt to me like she was caught up in the moment and got down on her knees with a pretend box and opened it. And yeah, didn't go well.
Proposals should not be
impromptu
like that. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I don't care if you get a freaking candy pop. Freaking some kind of ring. You need to actually put a ring on that. Yeah. It's weird because she's the one who's got her shit together. He clearly does not, and yet she proposed to him. Which is a little odd because it sounds like they weren't doing particularly well as a couple at that point. I could see that being the time that he might want to propose to his meal ticket. But her proposing to him? I
think she was probably just going in all in a new change, new house, new city, new job, up leveling their 10-year relationship.
I guess.
Some people think that a change will make change. Like, that's why so many people, when their marriages start to go south, they say, let's have a baby, which never works. Don't do that, people. But people grasp at change to try to create change. So
Also, if I was asked what my status was with him by one of my coworkers, I wouldn't say boy person like she did.
boy partner.
Or boy partner.
Yeah. Well, she said boyfriend sounded immature.
Yeah,
She was
there's
my
a wo-
partner.
There's a
and then
word
she
for it.
combined them.
It's called fiancé. Because at that point, she proposed, he said yes, they're engaged. That's a fiancé.
I wouldn't have accepted that, yes. What would you do if someone proposed with a fake box and then you were caught off guard and you sat there, or the other person sat there awkwardly and then finally said, yeah? I wouldn't accept that.
Okay.
What would you do? I would not accept that. I wouldn't consider myself engaged. That was not a full body
If you're the
yes.
guy or the girl.
Anyone, if you propose to someone and they kind of like, and there's awkward silence and hemming and hawing, and then they say, sure.
Well, but listen, despite it being 2025, it is still the overwhelming norm for the guy to propose to the girl. I mean, obviously there are instances where it doesn't go down that way, but in our heterosexual relationships, I have to think at least 90, if not 95% of engagements are guys asking girls. So it's entirely possible for him to be just completely taken aback.
Oh, he was. I agree.
Like there's the shock of, wait, hang on, what? She's doing, what? Huh? And I kind of saw it more as that. Like, he's just like mind blown because he was like,
So what would you do is if a girl proposed to you, you'd be like, I'm trying to wrap my head around this?
No, I'm just saying that I think his reaction wasn't unrealistic. And he once he put everything together, he's like, yes, of course, yes. And he said, of course.
I wouldn't take that. What would you do? I would not take that. That feels like a yes under duress. I'd say, okay, let's table this.
Again, I see the shock factor. And I wrote it up to that, not necessarily a hesitation factor. Because honestly, if you're him and she's proposing, as soon as your mind's even remotely clear, that's a snap yes.
Well, but also, too, keep in mind that he's not necessarily thrilled about moving, leaving the city, leaving his friends, leaving what he knows, just so he can basically sit in a cabin in the middle of nowhere because he doesn't drive and there's not great internet and she's going out doing her job.
Yeah, well, at least...
I mean, what would you do if you were in that situation where he jokes about being trapped, but, when people joke, they frequently are joking. It's like, yeah, I don't have a driver's license and I'm trapped in this house.
Yeah, I mean, when you use words like trapped, that's not good.
That's never a good word.
It's not a good word at all. So, wow. Yeah, this movie was a lot to process.
It was very unique. There's a lot of formulas out there for films, but this was a unique one.
Well, I will say this.
And it was in line. You mentioned The Substance earlier. I think it was in line with that. It's not like a horror, slasher, serial killer kind of thing, but it's definitely like a, ew, what is happening kind of a film.
Yeah, but at least they saved on the cost for an intimacy coordinator. You don't need an intimacy coordinator when the stars are actual husband and wife, which... I have to think. I like to have been a fly on the wall with the casting on that. But because the role involves so much physicality with each other in the movie, they probably were looking for that to start with. Now, if they don't find it, I'm sure they're going to cast otherwise. But if they can find a good husband-wife duo, which James Franco and Alison Brie, I think, worked just fine there. Yeah,
Dave Franco.
Did I miss Franco him?
Yeah, you got the brother involved.
Oh, I got the wrong brother. Okay. Do you have anything final?
Nope.
Yeah, well, I'm just letting you know that cuddle time is suspended until further notice.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.